Hi everyone, thank you for joining me again for my second video. And today we're going to talk about a job in theater that you might not know about, and that is the set designer or the scenic designer. So the set designer is part of the design team, including but not limited to the costume designer or the lighting designer. And they work very closely with the director and with the other designers so that everyone is on the same page in terms of how the show looks and feels, and so that the design of the show is cohesive across all of these different mediums. It is so important that the designers and the directors be really good collaborators. So they design the scenery, furniture, and props of a show. It's the physical space in which the world of the play exists. It's like a playground for the directors and for the actors. It also includes the items that the actors sit on or stand on, anything that they pick up or bring onto or bring off of the stage during their entrances or exits. And it also includes set dressing, so elements of the set that don't necessarily get used by the actors, but that add to the overall visual presentation of the show. So this includes things like curtains or drapes, bookshelves full of items, knickknacks, stuff like that. Now, the set designer helps to establish four things for the audience. They help to establish the setting, so the specific time and place. They help to create the mood and atmosphere. They help to influence the style and tone. And they offer creative use of the space for the actors and the director. The set, in combination with the lights and sometimes the sound or music, are often the first things that an audience sees when they enter the house before the show starts. So aside from any marketing materials that they may have seen, for a lot of people, it's going to be their first introduction to the show. Now, long before opening night and before rehearsals start, the set designer is hard at work. And each set designer has their own process. So I'm just going to give a general overview of what that process might be. And I've broken it down into 5 steps. So number 1 is they're going to read the script. And when they read the script many times, they're going to note the setting, so the specific time of day, the location, the historical time period, stuff like that. And they're also going to note any set pieces or props that the script calls for. Now, this will be anything that characters specifically say, as that'll be something that the playwright specifically indicated in the script. And they're also going to note any imagery or tone. Their second step is creating sketches and drawings of what the scenic elements might look like. And the third step is to create a 3D model box of the stage with the set and furniture of each scene. And this they'll be keeping proportions in mind. Now, a model box is like a diorama, and during this step, more details are going to be fleshed out. The fourth step is they're going to create renderings. Now, renderings are perspective drawings of what the design will look like with as much detail as possible. And the fifth step will be a full color scale model, and that'll have most of the details for their design. This will help the director and the actors get a feel for how much space there is on stage for blocking and for movement. Now, during these steps, there are design meetings with the stage manager, the other designers, and the director, as through this collaboration process, some items will get added or removed or tweaked, and that'll happen especially once the show is in rehearsals and the director and the actors are making new discoveries about things that couldn't have been predicted until the show was up on its feet in rehearsal. So there are a couple people who work pretty closely with the set designer. One of them is the technical director or the master carpenter. They help to lead the build of the set with the carpenters in the scene shop, and they decipher the set designer's plans, which includes drawing each piece of the set that needs to be built with measurements, figuring out what materials are needed, and helping to build the magic of the set, so anything like trapdoors or turntables, stuff like that. Next are the scenic charges and the painters, and they are responsible for painting the set and props. They redraw the images from the models and renderings onto the set pieces and the props, and then they mix the paint colors to make sure they match the renderings, and then they get to paint. And another person who works closely with the set designer is the props master, and this person designs, builds, and finds any props or set dressing pieces. Now, how does this relate to original practices? Original practices borrows from the staging practices of how Shakespeare's works were performed during his time period. So how does that relate to set design and then also to us specifically at Flag Shakes? So theater companies who practice, who use original practices, tend to not have big, elaborate sets. And they've got the most essential pieces of the set, of the furniture and props that the script and the playwright call for, and they've probably got minimal set dressing as well. Now, if Shakespeare had access to all of the things that we have access to today, like pyrotechnics and special effects and big Broadway budgets, he probably would have used them during his time. But he used what he could during his time period, so original practices strives to recreate how he did it in today's time period. Because Shakespeare was such a brilliant playwright and his plays were written to be performed under these circumstances, we learn a lot when we see them performed this way. Shakespeare's intentions shine through, especially with direct audience addresses and with universal lighting, but that's a topic for another video. I hope you found this informational, and leave a comment with anything that you learned or with any questions that you've got. And if you enjoyed learning about another aspect of what it takes to get a show up and running, be sure to like and share this video, and like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at Flag Shakes so that you can stay up to date on all of our videos and activities.